Admiral Da-Ho Kim stood on the bridge of the UES Sentinel, his eyes fixed on the large screen before him. The radar showed strange objects moving toward Earth. These were not asteroids or space junk. They moved with purpose. They were ships. "How many?" he asked, his voice calm despite the tension in the room. Lieutenant Soo-Jin Park checked her datapad. 233 vessels. Admiral, the largest is about 2 kilometers long. Admiral Kim nodded. Humanity had prepared for this day. After years of sending signals into space, someone had finally answered. But not in the way they had hoped. "Have they responded to our greeting messages?" he asked. "No, sir," said Commander Jun Lee from the communication station. "We've sent the standard peace signals in all known formats. They're ignoring us." The bridge fell silent. The alien fleet was now passing Mars, moving straight toward Earth at a speed that showed advanced technology. "Send another message," ordered Admiral Kim. "Make it clear we welcome peaceful contact, but are prepared to defend ourselves if threatened." As Commander Lee sent the message, Admiral Kim walked to the window. Earth looked small and fragile from here. The space station orbited at a safe distance, giving them a perfect view of the approaching fleet. The ships were dark, with sharp edges that reminded him of predatory sea creatures. His personal screen beeped. It was a call from Earth Defense Headquarters. "Admiral Kim, this is Director Ji-Woo Lee of the Quantum Defense Initiative. Are you seeing what we're seeing?" "Yes, Director. An alien fleet, ignoring all communication attempts. The President has called an emergency meeting. We may need to activate the QDS." Admiral Kim's heart beat faster. The quantum displacement system was Earth's best-kept secret, a defense system so powerful it had never been used outside of testing. Most people on Earth didn't even know it existed. "Understood. Keep me updated." Just as he ended the call, Commander Lee called out, "Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from the alien fleet." "On screen," Kim ordered. The main screen flickered, and a strange face appeared. The alien had gray skin with no hair, 4 yellow eyes, and a mouth full of sharp teeth. It wore some kind of metallic armor. "Humans." The alien spoke in perfect English, its voice deep and full of contempt. "I am High Commander Krell of the Vorax Empire. Your planet has been selected for integration into our domain. Surrender your resources and accept your place as our servants, or be destroyed." Admiral Kim stepped forward. "This is Admiral Da-Ho Kim of the United Earth Defense Fleet. We welcome peaceful contact with all species, but we will not surrender our world. We suggest you reconsider your approach." The alien made a sound like laughter. "Your primitive weapons are no match for our technology. We have conquered 100 worlds more advanced than yours. You have 1 Earth day to surrender, or we will take your planet by force." The screen went dark. "Orders, sir?" asked Soo-Jin. Admiral Kim turned to his crew. Their faces showed worry but also determination. "Alert Earth Defense Headquarters. Tell them the Vorax have made their intentions clear." He looked back at the screen showing the approaching fleet, and prepared the Sentinel for possible combat. As the crew rushed to their stations, Admiral Kim continued to watch the alien ships. The Vorax clearly thought Earth would be an easy conquest. They saw humans as weak and primitive. They would soon learn how wrong they were. High Commander Krell sat on his command throne aboard the Vorax flagship, Eternal Conquest. He watched the blue planet grow larger on the main screen. Earth looked peaceful and unaware of its coming doom. "Bring me the latest reports on the humans," Krell ordered. Sub-Commander Graz approached with a data tablet. He was shorter than Krell, with only 3 battle scars on his face instead of 7. "High Commander, our scouts have completed their assessment of Earth's defenses," Graz said, handing over the tablet. Krell scrolled through the images. A few orbital stations, some primitive satellites, and basic missile systems. Nothing that could harm their fleet. He smiled, showing his sharp teeth. "Pathetic," he said. "They still use chemical rockets and nuclear power. Their most advanced ships cannot even leave their solar system. Yes, High Commander, but Graz hesitated. Speak, Sub-Commander. Our deep scans detected unusual energy readings from several locations on Earth. They don't match any technology we recognize. Krell waved his hand dismissively. Probably their primitive attempts at new energy sources. Nothing to worry about. And their warning message? Graz asked. They seemed very confident. Empty threats, Krell laughed. Every species tries to appear stronger than they are when faced with superior force. It is simple survival instinct. Graz wasn't convinced. The scholars of Vorax teach that overconfidence has destroyed more fleets than enemy weapons, High Commander. Krell stood up suddenly, towering over Graz. Are you suggesting I am overconfident, Sub-Commander? No, High Commander, Graz said quickly. Just urging caution. I have conquered 23 worlds personally, Krell growled. I know when a species is hiding advanced technology. The humans are an open book, primitive, divided, and weak. Meanwhile, on Earth, Director Ji-Woo Lee entered the underground facility known as Blackstone. Located 3 kilometers beneath the Pacific Ocean, it was the most secure location on the planet. Inside the main control room, engineers and scientists worked at their stations. Everyone moved with purpose but without panic. Status report, Ji-Woo said as she approached the central platform. Engineer Ta Sung Kang looked up from his console. The QDS is at 98% readiness, Director. All 7 global nodes are synchronized. Ji-Woo nodded. And the power grid? Stable. The quantum reactors are providing more than enough energy. Ji-Woo walked to the large window overlooking the heart of the facility, a massive sphere surrounded by rings of pulsing blue light. This was the central node of the quantum displacement system, a weapon developed in secret over 20 years. Her assistant, Min-Ho, approached with a tablet. Latest update from Admiral Kim. The alien fleet will reach lunar orbit in 6 hours. Has the President made a decision? Ji-Woo asked. Emergency Council meeting is happening now. They're debating whether to reveal our true capabilities or let the aliens come closer. Ji-Woo turned back to the window. The QDS has never been used against a real target. We've only tested it on unmanned drones. Are you worried it won't work? Min-Ho asked. No, Ji-Woo said. I'm worried about what happens after. Once we reveal this technology, everything changes. The galaxy will know what humans are capable of. On the screens above them, the red dots representing the Vorax ships moved closer to Earth. The aliens thought they were the hunters, but they didn't realize they were about to become the hunted. Begin final preparations, Ji-Woo ordered. I want the system ready to activate the moment we receive the order. As the team rushed to work, Ji-Woo thought about the alien commander who had so confidently threatened Earth. Soon he would learn that appearances can be deceiving, and that underestimating humans was the last mistake many species would ever make. The United Earth Council gathered in their emergency chamber beneath Geneva. 50 leaders from all major nations sat around a circular table. Screens on the walls showed the alien fleet's position, now just past Mars. President Min-Seo Ryu stood at the center. The Vorax have given us 24 hours to surrender. We must respond. We should activate the QDS now, said General Yuna Kim, pounding her fist on the table. Why wait until they're closer? Ambassador Han Sol-Choi shook his head. We must give diplomacy one final chance. The consequences of using the QDS will change humanity's place in the galaxy forever. The room grew quiet. Everyone understood what was at stake. Very well, President Ryu decided. Ambassador Choi, prepare a final warning message. Make our position clear. If they continue their approach after that, we will have no choice. 2 hours later, Ambassador Choi stood before a special communication array. His message would be broadcast to the Vorax fleet in all known languages and formats. He straightened his formal jacket and nodded to the technician. A red light turned on, indicating the transmission had begun. Attention Vorax fleet. Ambassador Choi spoke clearly and calmly. "This is Ambassador Han Sol Choi of the United Earth Council. We have received your demands and reject them completely. Earth will not surrender." He paused, then continued. "We have evolved beyond what you perceive. Our technology is not displayed for a reason. This is our final warning. Retreat immediately or face consequences beyond your understanding. We do not wish conflict, but we are prepared for it. You have 6 hours to turn your fleet around and leave our solar system." The transmission ended. Ambassador Choi turned to President Ryu, who had watched from behind the cameras. "Do you think they'll listen?" he asked. "No," the president replied honestly, "but at least we gave them a chance." On the Vorax flagship, High Commander Krell watched the human ambassador's message with amusement. He had ordered the transmission to be broadcast throughout the fleet as entertainment for his warriors. "Listen to these humans," Krell laughed, addressing his bridge crew. "They hide their weapons, they say. They have evolved beyond our perception." His laughter grew louder, and the other Vorax joined in. Sub-Commander Graz laughed too, but without real humor. Something about the humans' calm confidence bothered him. "Should we scan for hidden weapons again, High Commander?" he suggested. Krell's laughter stopped abruptly. "Are you still worried, Graz? Our scanners show nothing but primitive defenses. Their so-called warning is empty talk from a species about to be conquered." "Yes, High Commander," Graz replied, lowering his eyes. Krell turned to his weapons officer. "Prepare all forward batteries. When we cross the orbit of their moon, I want a display of force. Target their largest orbital station first." Deep in the Blackstone facility, engineer Taz Sung Kang worked at his station, making final adjustments to the QDS targeting systems. Sweat dripped from his forehead, despite the cool air. "All 7 nodes reporting green status," he announced to Director Jiwoo. "Good," she replied. "The President has given authorization. If the Vorax cross the lunar threshold, we activate." On a nearby screen, Dr. Sun Mayun reviewed the energy calculations one last time. She had helped design the QDS over 15 years of secret work. Today would be the first time it was used against a real target. "The system is calculating mass displacement for the entire alien fleet," she said. "The energy requirements are enormous, but within our capacity." Jiwoo nodded and looked at the main screen showing the Vorax ships approaching Earth. The red dots moved steadily closer to the blue line representing lunar orbit. "They didn't listen to our warning," she said quietly. "Their mistake," Engineer Kang replied, his fingers poised over the activation controls. The countdown had begun. Soon, the Vorax would learn why Earth had remained isolated for so long. It wasn't out of weakness, but by choice. President Min Seo-ryu sat at the head of the table in the secure meeting room. Only 5 people were present, the smallest circle of Earth's defense leadership. Each person carried the weight of billions of lives on their shoulders. "The Vorax have ignored our warning," the president said. "They will cross lunar orbit in 3 hours. We must decide now." General Yuna Kim spoke first. "We should fire a warning shot. Use the QDS to destroy just one of their smaller ships. Show them what we can do without revealing our full power." Dr. Jun Ho Baek, the lead scientist who had helped create the QDS, shook his head. "Impossible. The quantum displacement system cannot target individual ships with precision. It creates a field effect. If we activate it, the entire fleet will be affected." "Then we must use full power," said Defense Minister Hyun Park. "Destroy them all at once. And show the entire galaxy what we can do," asked Foreign Secretary Mina Cho. "Once we use this weapon, everything changes. Other alien species will fear us, or try to steal our technology." The room fell silent. The president looked at each face around the table. "Dr. Baek, tell me again what the QDS does exactly," he said. Dr. Baek adjusted his glasses. "Put simply, it shifts matter from our dimension to another. The targeted objects don't explode or break apart. They simply cease to exist in our reality. The energy signature is minimal, leaving almost no trace. And there is no defense against it. None that we know of. The effect is instantaneous across the targeted area. The president stood and walked to the window. Though they were underground, a screen showed a real-time view of the sky above. It looked peaceful, with no sign of the danger approaching from space. "What about the people?" he asked. "Should we tell them what's happening?" "No," said General Kim firmly. "It would only cause panic. Most of Earth's population doesn't even know that QDS exists." The president took a deep breath. "Very well. My decision is made." He turned to face the group. "We will activate the QDS at full capacity when the Voraks cross lunar orbit. We will not fire warning shots. We will not reveal our hand early." He paused, looking at each person. "I know this means showing the galaxy what we're capable of. But the Voraks have given us no choice. They came as conquerors, ignored our warnings, and threatened our world. Now they will learn why Earth has kept to itself for so long." Across the globe, life continued as normal. In Tokyo, children played in parks. In Rio de Janeiro, people danced in the streets. In Cairo, merchants sold their goods in busy markets. Few people knew about the alien fleet approaching Earth. The governments had decided that panic would only make things worse. Special news reports mentioned unusual activity in space, but provided no details. In a small apartment in Seoul, a young woman named Mina watched the news with concern. As an astronomy student, she had noticed strange objects in the night sky that didn't match any known star patterns. "Something's happening," she told her roommate. "The government isn't telling us everything." Her roommate shrugged. "If it was serious, they would tell us. Why worry about things we can't control?" Mina wasn't convinced, but she had no choice but to wait and see like everyone else. Back at Blackstone facility, Director Ji Woo Lee received the president's orders directly. "Understood, Mr. President. The QDS will activate when the Voraks cross lunar orbit." She ended the call and turned to her team. "It's decided. Full deployment." Engineer Ta Sum Kang nodded and began the final activation sequence. A low hum filled the facility as the 7 global nodes synchronized. On the main screen, the alien fleet continued its steady approach. The red dots moved closer to the blue line representing Earth's last warning boundary. In just 3 hours, the galaxy would learn an important lesson about humanity. Appearances can be deceiving, and some warnings should never be ignored. High Commander Krell stood proudly on the bridge of the Eternal Conquest as the Voraks fleet approached Earth's moon. The gray satellite looked small and lifeless through the viewing screen. "Deploy the fleet in attack formation," Krell ordered. "Prepare to show these humans the true meaning of power." The Vorak ships spread out, forming a half-circle that would allow them to surround Earth. Over 200 warships, each armed with weapons that could destroy entire cities. "High Commander," called the sensor officer, "we're detecting unusual energy readings from Earth." Krell walked to the sensor station and looked at the screen. Strange pulses of energy were coming from 7 points around the planet. "What is it?" he asked. "Unknown, High Commander. It doesn't match any weapon signature in our database." Sub-Commander Graz approached cautiously. "Perhaps we should hold position until we understand these readings." Krell slammed his fist on the console. "No, the humans are trying to scare us with light shows. Their ambassador spoke of hidden technology, and now they create these energy signals to make us believe their lies." He turned to address the entire bridge crew. "I have studied over 50 species before conquering them. All try the same trick, creating the illusion of strength when they have none. We will not fall for it." Krell walked back to his command chair and sat down. "Continue the approach. I want to see the fear in their eyes when we destroy their first city." In private, he had already written his victory speech. Soon, he would add Earth to his list of conquered worlds. On the far side of the moon, hidden from both Earth and the approaching fleet, sat the lunar observation base Watchman. Lieutenant Du Hyun Park monitored the alien ships from this secret facility. All Vorax vessels have crossed the outer marker, he reported through a secure channel. They're deploying in attack formation, just as predicted. In Blackstone facility on Earth, Director Ji-Woo Lee received the report. Understood, Lieutenant. Continue monitoring and stay hidden. She turned to her team. The Vorax have crossed the first threshold. They'll reach lunar orbit in 20 minutes. Engineer Ta-Sung Kang nodded without looking up from his station. His fingers moved rapidly across the control panel, making final adjustments to the QDS targeting parameters. All 7 nodes are at full power, he reported. Quantum field is stable and synchronized. Dr. Sun Mayun approached with a tablet displaying complex equations. I've run the final simulations. The displacement field will extend exactly 384,000 kilometers from Earth, precisely the distance to lunar orbit. And the moon itself? Asked Ji-Woo. Unaffected. The field has a specific resonance frequency that will only target the Vorax ships. Ji-Woo checked the time. 15 minutes until the aliens crossed the point of no return. She opened a secure line to the President. Mr. President, the Vorax fleet will reach lunar orbit in 15 minutes. The QDS is ready to activate on your command. President Min Seo-ryu's voice came through clearly. Very well, Director. You have my authorization. May history remember that we gave them every chance to turn back. Ji-Woo ended the call and addressed her team. This is it. In 15 minutes, we changed the course of human history. On his flagship, Krell watched as Earth grew larger on the screen. Such a blue and peaceful-looking world. Soon it would belong to the Vorax Empire. Begin scanning for their most important cities, he ordered. I want our first strikes to break their will completely. As the Vorax fleet crossed the darkness of space, they remained unaware of the trap they were flying into. They saw only a vulnerable planet with primitive defenses. They could not see the invisible web of quantum energy waiting to ensnare them. The countdown to humanity's revelation had begun. The Vorax fleet crossed the invisible line of lunar orbit. On Earth, screens in the Blackstone facility flashed red as alarms sounded. Lunar threshold breached, announced Lieutenant Du Hyun Park from the moonbase. All enemy vessels are now within the target zone. Director Ji-Woo Lee looked at the main display. 233 red dots, representing the Vorax ships, had crossed the blue line. There was no turning back now. Initiate final countdown, she ordered. QDS activation in 60 seconds. Around the room, the team worked with quiet focus. No one spoke except to confirm technical details. The weight of what they were about to do hung in the air. Engineer Tae-Sung Kang's fingers moved across his control panel, entering the final activation codes. His face showed no emotion, but inside, his heart raced. He had helped build this system over 10 years, never truly believing it would be used. 50 seconds to activation, the automated system announced. On the Vorax flagship, High Commander Krell smiled as Earth filled the main view screen. So blue, so rich with resources, and soon to be his greatest conquest. We are in optimal firing position, reported the weapons officer. All ships are ready to attack on your command. Excellent, Krell said. Target their largest cities first. I want them to see the destruction from the ground. Sub-Commander Graz checked the sensor readings again. The strange energy patterns from Earth had grown stronger, now pulsing in a regular rhythm. High Commander, these energy readings are increasing. Perhaps we should. Enough, Krell shouted. Your caution is becoming tiresome, Graz. The humans are helpless. Their primitive weapons cannot harm our ships. He stood from his command chair and addressed the bridge crew. Begin recording my victory speech. The Empire will want to hear my words as we claim this world. 40 seconds to activation. The countdown continued on Earth. In the secure command center beneath Geneva, President Min Seo-ryu and his advisors watched the final moments before activation. No one spoke, Some closed their eyes in silent prayer. "Will they feel pain?" asked Foreign Secretary Mina Cho quietly. Dr. Jun-Ho Baek shook his head. "No, the displacement is instantaneous. One moment they will exist in our universe, and the next, they will be gone. 30 seconds to activation." In the Blackstone facility, Dr. Sun Mai-yoon monitored the energy levels of all 7 global nodes. The quantum displacement system drew power from special reactors hidden deep underground on every continent. "All nodes at 100%, she reported. "Quantum field is stable and ready." Jai-woo took a deep breath. This technology was created to protect humanity, not to destroy. But they gave us no choice. 20 seconds to activation. On the Vorac's flagship, Krell was mid-sentence in his victory speech when the communication officer interrupted. "High Commander, we're receiving a transmission from Earth." "Ignore it," Krell said. "Their time for talking is over." But the message played automatically through the ship's systems. It was short and clear. "Vorac's fleet, this is your final warning. Leave immediately or be removed. You have 10 seconds to comply." Krell laughed loudly. "Such empty threats. Prepare to fire on my mark." 10 seconds to activation. In a simple underground room, engineer Ta-Sung Kang sat before a plane control panel. Despite the complexity of the QDS, its activation required just a simple command. Director Ji-woo Lee stood beside him. "Humanity will remember this day forever," she said quietly. "For better or worse." 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. "Activate," Ji-woo ordered. Tai-sung pressed his palm against the scanner, then entered a 6-digit code. On the screen, a single word appeared. "Common Firearm. QDS active," he announced. The room fell silent. On the screens, the red dots representing the Vorac's fleet continued to move toward Earth. For a single heartbeat, nothing happened. Then, the world changed forever. A faint blue light rippled across Earth's atmosphere, so subtle that most people looking up at the sky didn't notice it. It lasted less than a second. In that brief moment, the entire Vorac's fleet, all 233 warships, simply disappeared. Inside the Blackstone facility, the screen showed empty space where the red dots had been just moments before. No explosions, no debris. The ships were simply gone. Engineer Ta-Sung Kang stared at his instruments in disbelief. He had helped build the QDS, had run countless simulations, but seeing it work in reality was something else entirely. "Did it work?" Director Ji-woo Lee asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Dr. Sun Mai-yoon checked the readings on her screen. "Complete displacement achieved. 100% of targeted matter has been shifted to the alternate dimension." The room remained silent for several seconds. Then, slowly, people began to realize what had happened. They had faced an alien invasion fleet, and won. "Send confirmation to the president," Ji-woo ordered, her voice steady despite the emotion she felt. "Tell him Operation Safeguard was successful. The threat has been neutralized." On the lunar observation base, Lieutenant Do-hyun Park couldn't believe what his sensors were telling him. One moment, the Vorac's fleet was there. The next, gone. He ran additional scans to be sure. The space between Earth and the Moon was empty except for a rapidly dispersing cloud of blue-tinted particles, the only evidence that the fleet had ever existed. "Watchman to Blackstone," he reported, confirming complete disappearance of all enemy vessels. No survivors detected. In the command center beneath Geneva, President Min Seo-ryu received the news with a solemn nod. "It worked exactly as designed," said Dr. Jun-Ho Baek, examining the data coming in. "The QDS created a quantum field that displaced the matter of the Vorax ships into a parallel dimension. They didn't explode or break apart. They simply ceased to exist in our reality." "And the crew?" asked Foreign Secretary Mina Cho. "They experienced nothing," Dr. Baek assured her. One instant they were preparing to attack Earth. The next, they were gone. No pain, no awareness of what happened. General Yuna Kim studied the tactical displays. No debris to clean up. No radiation. No evidence that could be easily detected by other alien civilizations, except for the fact that an entire invasion fleet suddenly vanished. President Ryu pointed out. That will not go unnoticed. The room fell silent as they considered the implications. What happens now? Asked Defense Minister Hyun Park. President Ryu stood up. Now we prepare for what comes next. The Voraks will not be the only species out there. Others will have noticed what happened here today. Should we reveal the truth to our people? Asked Foreign Secretary Cho. The president thought for a moment. Yes. The time for secrets is over. The people of Earth deserve to know that we were threatened, and that we prevailed. In orbit around a distant planet at the edge of the Voraks Empire, a small scout ship received the last transmission from High Commander Krell's fleet before all contact was lost. Preparing to fire on Earth's major cities. Victory is at hand. Long live the Emp. The message cut off abruptly. The communications officer tried for hours to reestablish contact, but there was only silence. Finally, the scout ship's captain made a decision. Set course for the homeworld. The High Council must be informed immediately. As the small ship jumped to faster than light speed, its crew wondered what could have possibly happened to such a powerful fleet. How could the humans, with their primitive technology, defeat the mighty Voraks? Back on Earth, the blue skies showed no sign of the battle that had taken place. The world looked peaceful, just as it had before. But everything had changed. Humanity had revealed itself as a power to be reckoned with, a species that should never be underestimated. And somewhere in the vast emptiness of space, other civilizations were about to learn this lesson. 3 days after the Voraks fleet vanished, President Min Seo-ryu addressed the people of Earth. Every screen on the planet showed his face as he stood before a simple blue background. People of Earth, he began, I speak to you today about an event that will change our history forever. 3 days ago, an alien fleet from a species called the Voraks entered our solar system with the intention to conquer our world. Across the globe, people stopped what they were doing to listen. In New York, crowds gathered in Times Square. In Mumbai, families huddled around television sets. In Berlin, people watched on their phones. The Voraks demanded our surrender, the president continued. They threatened to destroy our cities and enslave our people. We attempted peaceful communication, but they refused to listen. He paused, taking a deep breath. What I tell you next may be difficult to believe. For decades, Earth has developed technology in secret, technology beyond what most of you thought possible. When the Voraks crossed the orbit of our moon, we activated a defense system that removed the threat. The entire alien fleet was gone in seconds. Images appeared on screens showing the Vorak ships, followed by the blue ripple of energy. And then empty space. Around the world, reactions varied from shock to disbelief to pride. In a small apartment in Seoul, astronomy student Maina watched with wide eyes, finally understanding what she had seen in the night sky. I knew something was happening, she whispered. In the days that followed, details about the quantum displacement system became public knowledge. People learned about the secret facilities, the years of research, and the scientists who had created it. Dr. Sun Mayun and engineer Tae-sung Kang became instant celebrities, though they avoided the spotlight as much as possible. They preferred to stay in their labs, continuing their work. In Blackstone facility, director Ji-woo Lee met with her team. The QDS performed perfectly, she told them. But our work is just beginning. The galaxy now knows about us. Other species will be watching. Are we in danger? Asked Min-ho, her assistant. Not immediately, Ji-woo replied. But we must prepare for contact with the wider galactic community. Some will fear us. Others will want our technology. In space, news of the Vorak's defeat spread quickly. The scout ship reached the Vorax homeworld with their report, causing panic among the High Council. "Impossible," shouted Council Leader Draz. "No species could destroy our fleet so easily." But the evidence was clear. High Commander Krell and his 233 warships were gone. In a distant corner of the galaxy, representatives from the Galactic Council received the news with great interest. "The humans have quantum displacement technology," said Councillor Drith of the Alaxari. "They've hidden their true capabilities all this time." "We must establish contact immediately," suggested Councillor Trin of the Neverans. "Such a species could be a valuable ally or a dangerous enemy." "Approach with caution," warned Elder Mox of the ancient Palaxian race. "Any species that could defeat the Vorax so completely deserves our respect and our care." Back on Earth, people adjusted to their new reality. Schools taught children about alien species for the first time. Military academies updated their training. Scientists shared knowledge that had been classified for decades. A new sense of unity spread across nations. Old conflicts seemed less important now that humanity knew they were not alone in the universe. In the United Earth Council chamber, President Rio met with his advisors to discuss their next steps. "We should send a diplomatic mission to the Galactic Council," suggested Ambassador Han Sol Choi. "It's time we joined the wider community of species. And if they fear us because of what we did to the Vorax?" asked Foreign Secretary Mina Cho. "Then we must show them that we used our power only when threatened," the president replied. "That we prefer peace, but will defend ourselves if necessary." The meeting ended with a historic decision. Earth would reach out to the stars not as a conquering force, but as a new voice ready to be heard. The age of Earth's isolation was over. 6 months after the Vorax incident, Earth launched its first official diplomatic mission to the Galactic Council. The starship Deterrent gleamed in the morning sunlight as it sat on the launch pad in New Zealand. Unlike the bulky chemical rockets of the past, the Deterrent was sleek and elegant. It used the same quantum technology that powered the QDS, modified to create a propulsion system that could bend space itself. Captain Yunji Shin stood on the bridge, looking out at the blue sky that would soon give way to the blackness of space. At 42 years old, she had spent her career flying experimental aircraft. Now she would be the first human to command a ship to the stars. "Pre-launch checks complete, Captain," reported Navigator Hoon Kim. "All systems are green." "Very good," Captain Shin replied. "Is our diplomatic team ready?" "Yes, Captain." Ambassador Choi is in his quarters reviewing the final briefing materials. Captain Shin nodded and took her seat in the command chair. This mission would change humanity's place in the universe forever. "Control, this is Deterrent. We are ready for departure," she said into the comm system. "Deterrent, this is Control. You are cleared for launch. Safe journey." The ship rose silently from the ground, a soft blue glow emanating from its engines. Unlike the rockets of old, there was no fire, no explosion of chemicals, just the quiet hum of quantum energy bending the fabric of reality. Within minutes, the Deterrent had left Earth's atmosphere. The crew felt no acceleration, protected by the ship's gravity systems. Earth became a blue marble behind them, then a distant point of light. "Preparing for quantum jump," announced Navigator Kim. Captain Shin pressed a button on her chair, opening a channel to the entire ship. "All crew, prepare for our first jump. Destination: the Galactic Council Station at Centauri Alpha." A shimmering field of blue energy surrounded the ship. There was a brief sensation of movement, though nothing could be seen through the viewports except streaks of light. Then suddenly, a massive space station appeared before them, a ring-shaped structure larger than Earth's moon. "Jump successful," reported Navigator Kim. "We have arrived at Centauri Alpha. Transit time, 4.3 seconds. Inside the Galactic Council chambers, representatives from over 50 advanced civilizations had gathered. Word had spread quickly about the humans and their quantum technology. The main doors opened, and Ambassador Han Sol Choi entered, followed by Captain Shin and a small delegation from Earth. They walked calmly to the center of the circular room, aware of the hundreds of alien eyes watching their every move. Ambassador Choi bowed respectfully to the council leader, a tall being with silver skin. "Greetings from Earth," he said. "We come in peace, seeking friendship and knowledge." The council leader's voice was translated through small devices in the humans' ears. "We welcome Earth's representatives. Your emergence has caused quite a stir among our members." The Orcs were known troublemakers, but their destruction was unexpected. Ambassador Choi nodded. "We regret the necessity of our actions. We tried to warn them, but they refused to listen. Earth wishes only peace, but we will defend ourselves if threatened." Murmurs spread through the chamber. Some species looked impressed, others concerned. "A fair position," the council leader acknowledged. "And what does Earth seek from the Galactic Council?" "Understanding," Ambassador Choi replied simply. "We have lived in isolation, unaware of the wider community of worlds. We have much to learn, and perhaps some things to teach." Captain Shin stepped forward. "Our ship, the Deterrent, carries messages of friendship from Earth's people, but it also carries a message in its very existence. Humanity has evolved beyond what others might perceive. We prefer cooperation, but we cannot be conquered." The council chamber fell silent as the delegates considered these words. Finally, the council leader spoke again. "Earth will find both friends and challenges among the stars. But you have earned the right to be heard. Welcome to the Galactic Council." As the formal proceedings began, a new word spread through the assembled species, whispered from delegate to delegate. "Human," now synonymous with underestimate at your peril. Earth had arrived on the galactic stage. The end.